what we're doing here as a human family has long been prophesied. Long been prophesied. And what I'd like to do with you'll be sure to let me know those minutes, is just to share a brief story. So I remember when I got to be 50, I thought, shoot, 500 years is nothing, just 50 times 10. The Crowfoot put it this way. He said, life's like the breath of a buffalo on a cold day, or a firefly on a warm summer night, or the shadows vanishing before the setting sun. I think that's life. That's life. And I can tell you, Mitakiapi, it's true. Infancy. Why? Child. Adult. And over there, all of a sudden, you're standing there, you're an elder. Or a young elder. You look over here, there's the door. That's where you begin getting your second childhood. It's great. Then you begin to see that journey. Begins to make sense. So I'm going to take you back to 1968. And to the most powerful, most beloved illness anybody can have, and that's addiction. You know why? There's only one way out. That's a spiritual path. Wow! What a gift. So for any relatives here who have suffered from addiction, give thanksgiving. Give thanksgiving. Because the Creator's giving you a gift. A gift. Tough one. Tough one. Like Pershka Rubin said, he said, I'm still coming to those ceremonies. Still coming to pray and to cleanse myself. And so I look back over these years, and I remember beginning to have this experience. And by the way, I think we have many, many springtimes in our life. We have many summers. We have many falls, literally, and many winter times. Sometimes it seems like we're on that desert. There's no water anyplace. You think you see it, you go there and it's not there. I'm sure you've been in that desert. And I know when you go and fast, Sundance, physically, your tongue gets thick. But if you continue to pray, if you continue to have faith, in this song, our chief white buffalo calf pipe even says, Kola lechel lechu, Kola lechel lechu, Kola lechel lechu, hey chanuki, Takol yashikule deo. Friend, do it this way. Whatever you do in life, do with all your soul and your heart. If you get knocked down, get up. Then it says to imply, if you get knocked down 1,000 times, get up 1,000 times. If you do it that way, your grandfather, your grandmothers, all your ancestors are going to see you. Then it says, when one sits in the sacred hoof of the people, one must be responsible. And then it says, if you do it that way, with all your heart and soul, whatever you ask for, that's exactly the way it's going to be. And you need to proceed in that way. You need to proceed. 1982, between Christmas and New Year's, with support of a new program in Canada called the National Native Alcohol and Drug Abuse Program, NADAP. We were given some resources to call a meeting. I actually was at the University of Lethbridge at that time, and the then director came and said, Phil, we'd like you to develop a curricula for ending alcoholism and drug abuse, and prevention. I said, well, that's a pretty big order. But at least I learned by that time to go to the elders. I said, I'll tell you what, you'll let me use this money any way you wish. any way I wish. Next 3 months, it's the end of the year money. I'll give it a shot. So they said, okay. So I called together 40 elders, spiritual leaders. We came together for 4 days and 4 nights. We ended on the 29th of December, the anniversary of Wounded Knee Massacre. All night we prayed through that night. And when we condensed and crystallized all the elders had said, it seemed very simple, but very profound. And this is what they said. This universe we live in is organized according to certain natural laws. These physical and spiritual laws are inseparably connected. The physical laws are easy to understand. If you drive a car 100 miles an hour into a concrete wall, you get smashed up. If you drink a glass of arsenic, you get a stomachache. If you jump off a 10-story building, your head, you get a headache. They said the foundation of these physical laws are the spiritual laws, the natural laws that are just as real. And they began to unfold these natural laws. One, they said, development comes from within. And everything unfolds from within. Others can help and assist, but unfold with the individual, the family, the community, the nation. But it begins here, right here, inside of each one of us. And that's that sacredness Brother Lee was talking about. Each of us is a sovereignty, ancient, imperishable, and everlasting. Anything else we sense was not what we were born to feel when we emerged in this beautiful world from the womb of our mothers. Came here. And so we had that gathering. In the next 4 years, we had another gathering. And then we had 2 more gatherings, the last 2, to finish these principles, these guiding principles for building a sustainable world. We had 500 come for 7 days. Twice. And from that began a journey that for me began back in 1970 and 71 when I had the great, great privilege and honor of being in the great Andes with Andres Hachacoyo, Melitón Gallardo, Clemente Pimentel, and of course the strength backed up by their beloved wives and grandmothers. And the Quiero Incas had come out from them after being completely isolated since the time of the coming of our relatives from Spain. They'd come out in the 50s to bring out the fullness of the prophecies of the reunion, the condor, the quetzal, and the eagle. And up in Statlium territory, they were there. They began another peace and dignity run. And by the way, very interesting, the sacred prophecies all over this beautiful lands we stand in across the Americas said prior, Lee intimated this, prior to the coming of other relatives was predestined. It's all supposed to be here. We have all this divine appointment right here tonight and everywhere on earth right now. And they said, there's coming a spiritual wintertime. And different tribes had different times when it was coming. Some said this spiritual wintertime will last 500 years. Of course, 1492, 1992, go back, check it out. We had signs before that. One of the prophecies that stretches across Turtle Island, they said this, that day will begin, the stirring of that day will begin when the eagle flies to the moon and lands. And I was there. Brother Lee was there. 1969. First words that were communicated to Mother Earth was, the eagle has landed. The eagle has landed. The eagle has landed. And so this Peace and Dignity run began in 1992. And they're beginning, they go to Alaska, and they go to Tierra del Fuego, and they meet in Panama this year, Kunayala, the great nation, the most sovereign people in this hemisphere. They're meeting right there.
Starting to make birds seem like they come from 3 directions.
Yeah. They're meeting right there in Panama. So, how are we doing time-wise?
9 minutes.
9 minutes. Okay, we used to have that thing on the advertisement, little bird. I made this kind of way back there. It's a bird. So you got 1 minute to sing. Okay. This international treaty to protect and restore Mother Earth took many, many years. Many years. The preamble, beginning of the preamble, dates back to 1995 when these principles I talked about were delivered to the United Nations headquarters to President Cuellar, the Secretary General of the United Nations. And they were given further birth throughout the International Indigenous Leadership Gathering. Down to Rio Plus 20, where Tushka, Ruben, and I went. They were read by our dear brother, Marcos Terena, the leader there of the indigenous people of Brazil, Rio Plus 20. And I'm just going to briefly, this was signed, by the way, on April 22nd, 2016. At the same time the United Nations signing their agreement, this was signed. This was by indigenous leaders from across the Americas, from the Condor, from the Quetzal in Panama, and other places in Central America, and from the Eagle to the north, and Indonesia. As we speak, our relatives in New Zealand, our Maori relatives, they're preparing their leadership, and tonight we'll have this over here, because Itakiapi, what was so beautiful is that we came in that final meetings, we decided unanimously this would not be called an international indigenous treaty to protect and restore Mother Earth. This would call an international treaty to protect and restore Mother Earth. And this is the foundation. The spiritual foundation of the indigenous worldview is based on the ancient understanding of the fundamental oneness and unity of all life. Therefore, all members of the human family are part of the sacred circle of life. Since all members of the human family are part of the sacred circle of life, we are all indigenous peoples of Mother Earth. Therefore, every human being is responsible for the well-being of one another and all living things upon our earth, Mother Earth. Then it says this one. Whether or not the nation states, multinational corporations, or international development agencies that surround us are willing or able to participate with us at this time are indigenous peoples. Now include yourself if you feel you're an indigenous person of Mother Earth. If you don't, that's okay. And allies. You got to go in both ways. And allies of the human family are moving dynamically forward in rebuilding and reunifying the Americas and beyond. And then the preamble has 7 points, which, by the way, following this, I'm going to have these out there. I'd ask you to leave the treaties. You can read them. We're going to leave some addendums there if you want to put your name on them. This is for whoever might choose to share this. Will also be at change.org coming up, because it's going to take a movement of movements. We talked Yepi. It's going to take. In fact, I want to go right back to the end of this. I think we say it real clearly here. Article 15. Here we go. The last article, summarizing. And by the way, each one starts like this. Each of the articles of this treaty start like this. We, the members of the human family, commit to hold governments and corporations responsible for making genuine progress to solve the growing challenge of climate change. Historically, after 21 years of climate conferences, governments and corporations accomplished nothing. True. Go back and check things out 21 years ago. Have accomplished nothing to solve the climate challenge and have, in fact, subsidized the petroleum energy industry that increases climate change. Key point. While we hold governments and corporations responsible for making genuine progress, we will not rely on them to restore the harmony and balance of life. The majority of the work to protect and restore the cycle of life remains with each and every one of us. Each and every one. 4 minutes. Yeah. I just wanted to just kind of just get a couple more of these and they'll be available back for read. And by the way, after we signed this treaty, Doug told you just to demonstrate the fact that we're all human beings. We went to the second global canoe event. The Onondagas came from the north. Oh. Onondagas who stood sovereign for all these years. And we got in these canoes, and away we went, right in front of the United Nations, on the Hudson River. With a sacred pipe had been prepared with smoke right there. Police boats. First one pulled up, another one pulled up. Next thing there was another of these drones on top. They're really cute things. Really, they look like little bugs. Kind of just looking at us. We just wave and enjoy ourselves all the Hudson River. But I think key to this. Watching that real close. But I think that there's two more that I want to read. Because it fits into what happened tonight.
You have 3 minutes.
The Spirit's here. Article 1. We, the members of the human family, commit to protecting and restoring the sacred. We will remind ourselves that our human family, through our sacred prayers, songs, ceremony, and our ancient prophecies, that Mother Earth is our sacred provider of life, and not a limitless dump for our waste here only to satisfy our appetite for material dimensions of life. Restoring the sacred includes preserving and protecting sacred sites worldwide and returning heirloom sacred objects taken from their rightful owners. We will return these sacred sites and objects to their original cultural and spiritual purpose. But then the second one, and this is key to what happened tonight. We, the members of the human family, commit to supporting the global emergence of the seventh generation. The seventh generation. The Kaya Blaney, she was right here, who's been backed up by her mom and dad so struggling. Kaya, George, and all the rest. I'd like to have the seventh generation stand up while I read this. Seventh generation. That's around 35 and under. Stand up if you're 35 and under. 35 and under. Stand up. 35 and under. You realize that over half the human population of Mother Earth is 25 years and under. You all represent at least 70% of the entire human family, those 35 and under. So here is what we have to say. We, the members of the human family, commit to supporting the global emergence of the seventh generation, as promised by fostering youth participation, leadership, and wisdom in all decision-making processes beginning in the United States of Canada, impacting all life. So I thank you for talking.